Okay, thank you very much and good evening, everyone. So my name is Kamau Charles. Some people refer to me as an scientist. And tonight I'll be introducing you to cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency trading. So I will try to be as brief as possible. This is going to be a very basic information because we understand a lot of people don't have the basics to get started. So I'll kind of break it down to my journey. How did I get started with cryptocurrency? Also explain to you why we're doing what we are doing, but I'll be using the cash flow quadrant to explain that. And for the sake of newbies, we'll go through the evolution of money and why Bitcoin. And already, well, I have been waiting for other people to come on board. Those are some of tools that you'll need. We call them the wallets. Just as you cannot send emails or receive emails without an email address, the same concept applies when it comes to cryptocurrency. Whichever way you're participating, you will have to register with an exchange wallet, which will convert what was fiat currency, which could be like the rand, the dollar, the naira, into Bitcoin and vice versa. So as you learn more, you'll notice some of these wallets are country specific. Like in South Africa, we use VAL. You can use Altcoin Trader or Luno. I prefer VAL because they are very affordable. They have a very good customer care, but other people might prefer other platforms. In Kenya and other countries, we also use Paxful, even here in South Africa. You can as well use local Bitcoin, but be cautious. There's a lot of scammers there. So if there's an alternative other than local Bitcoin, I would prefer you go for that. I don't expect a lot of European or American in the training, but you can use Coinbase for that purpose. So just so that you're aware, the information I'm sharing with you, I'm not like a financial advisor. I'm just somebody who is passionate about technology. As you can see, anything, I believe in science and technology. So what I'm be sharing with you is opportunity that you can make a lot of money with it or may lose money if you're not doing it the right way, but I'm not a financial advisor, okay? So I hope you can still see my slides. I'm struggling to scroll through. Okay, so basically what I'm showing you here is a typical tool we use for trading purposes. And for trading, just to simplify it in simpler words, is just buying low, selling high, or if you want to like really complicate it, you can talk of selling high and rebuying low. So in trading terms, we call it long trade. If you are buying low, let's say the coin is at $10, you buy as many as you can afford. And if the price goes to $20, you sell, and the difference is your profit. So you'll hear us talking about a bull market when the markets are going up trade, meaning that it's just think of going upstairs. You climb from the bottom stair all the way towards the top. That's a bull market. It could go the other way around, and which we call the bear market. So I don't know why we use the animals in this, but you can imagine if a bull was to attack you, it will hit you up, it will kick you to the air, and the bears will put you more towards the ground. So the successful trader is a person who knows when to buy and when not to buy, and who knows when to sell. So today I'm not going so much into this technical information, but I just wanted you to have a feel of what we are all doing, okay? So because the major change that you'll see, it's either like if you're moving from an up trade, you would be entering a down trade. And when that happens, you see the market have reversed. Okay, so you are going up the stairs, now you're going down the stairs, and that's what we refer to as a reversal of the market. In between an up trade or a down trade, you have what we call retracement or pullbacks. Okay, pullbacks is let's like when the price was moving from this point going towards point A, which I'm showing here. You can see the price went up, then it went red. Okay, when you see the red candles, that's the price moving from an up position to a down position. And you see the green candles, those represent a bullish move because the price opened here, but it closed much higher, as you can see in this example I'm showing. Okay, So I hope that makes sense, and I hope it's not too complicated. But why are we doing what we are doing? In life, if you are making an income, there are four main ways in which we generate income. So to the people to my left, either you have a 9-to-5 job, you're an employee, or you're self-employed. Those people are trading time for money. You know, if you don't go to work, you don't make any money. If you are, let's say, like a self-employed, you're running a surgery, you are whatever you're doing on consultation. If you don't show up at work, you don't make any money. Okay. And then the people to the right hand side, or the the other quadrants, where I have named them as investor or business owners. These are people who get into opportunity like the one I'll be discussing today with you, whereby money works for you. Okay, you don't work for money, money works for you. And why would you want to do that? If you don't have a leverage in life, you're going to work until your last breath on this earth, and you don't want to be doing that. Okay. So what I'll be showing you is strategies that can help you move from being an employee or self-employed towards being an investor or even owning a business, based on what you do, the information that we'll be sharing with you. And just as a reminder, between money and human, who can work forever? Okay. So just think about that as we proceed with the training about how we can make money. So as you have seen, we're in a new world. You know, the world is changing every day, and we're seeing more automation coming into play. You know, you have heard people talking about artificial intelligence, you know, whereby companies are changing to become more efficient by automating some of these processes. So things are going digital. And, you know, I'll be sharing with you how, especially like what happened in my own career line as a scientist. I'll explain to you to that. We have also seen a lot of jobs being lost. And for that reason, you cannot afford to just rely on your salary today to make a living, because if you lose that job through automation, as we are seeing, because a robot does things much better than you can, you're going to struggle because you have bills and debts to pay. And that's why you want to really seriously consider other avenues of making money. And obviously trading is one of the best you can think of. Okay. So as you have seen, you know, I'm sure a lot of you have heard people talking about disruptive technology for the industrial revolution. And I'll just give you a few examples whereby we have seen like the biggest media owner today is Facebook, which creates no content, but it's a $50 billion US company. Look at the Uber. It's a big Uber tax fire and all those lookalike companies that have been developed from this concept. These are the most profitable tax industry, which for years did not own any taxes, but they just managed to connect the consumer with the needs that we own it today. Like if you want to travel, for example, in South Africa, when I just came here, and I did not have my own transport, I did not have a car. To stop a public transport, you have to use different signs they use to mean whether you're going to the town or just a short distance from where you are. I don't know which finger to use. I would end up swearing or saying the wrong things. But today, my 7-year-old daughter can book her own transport because it's digital. She just goes to the computer. She knows she needs to move from point A to point B. And that's what we are seeing this technology is doing. And it's making our lives so easy. So today I'll be talking more about the cryptocurrencies, whereby anybody with a wallet like the one I mentioned, you become your own bank. You can send your money anywhere, anytime without needing the third parties. And that's where the world is going. Just to give you an idea, you know, like I'm sure maybe few of you are old enough to use the post office. That's how we used to communicate. I remember this in Kenya, you know. Yeah. But today, post office becoming useless because the Internet of Things has taken over. You know, you don't have to wait 6 months or such long periods to communicate. You communicate through emails and social media. Just in case some people did not understand my background, you know, I'm a scientist. I'm more into, you know, genetics, DNA testing. If you're there and questioning parentage or you have something you'd like investigated, that's what I have my degrees on. So that's what I'm qualified for. I'm not a financial advisor. But just to give you an idea, you know, for when you hear people saying like you may be suffering from this form of cancer or this genetic disorder or things we say it runs through the family, it's because of your genetic makeup. So in my field, we saw the technology getting disrupted, whereby it took 10 years costed $20 million to sequence the first human genome, to put those ACGT together so that you can say, hey, when you have this combination, you might suffer from disease X, Y, Z, like the cancers and all those other and uncommunicable diseases. Today, the technology went digital, the same way we're seeing a lot of other things have gone digital, including money, which is what I'll share with you. And we can do the same sequencing overnight, and it will cost barely $1,000 US. So you can see how much a technology can shift things around, A lot of people say this technology that come through like, oh, these are scam, they'll not be, here for long enough. Let me just give you an example. Although we'll be talking about cryptocurrency trading, I decided to throw this Forex shop and Forex trading here. A lot of you would be comfortable to own a Forex shop, like at the airport. In Kenya, we have several of those. In South Africa, you can only get that through the banks. But just because we are used to physical form of the money we're working with, we're not comfortable with the digital. Being a Forex trader, you kind of like running a Forex shop, only that everything is digitalized. And that's more the thing that I'll be sharing with you tonight, okay? So just to bring back the message, we're here to talk about blockchain and cryptocurrency-based applications. Today, we may be just focusing on the digital currency. That's the most popular area of blockchain application, but you can apply this technology in so many areas. I call it the truth machine because of how it operates, because once a data is entered, it cannot be manipulated, without the right consensus. And that's why you'll see this technology is definitely going to be adopted in other areas like record keeping. How many of you have had, like, you bought a piece of land and you get a title deed and somebody else buy the same piece of land and they also have a legit considered title deed because it's centralized. Anybody can go and print the same title deed several times, just a piece of paper with just some fancy background, So with the blockchain, if a record is stored in blockchain, remember blockchain is just a big database that's controlled by everyone, but no one. It's distributed to all the people, and those people do not necessarily need to know each other. And once the data is entered, whether it's how it's confirmed to be legit or not, there has to be a consensus. Okay? Can hear somebody manage to unmute themselves? So let me check. Okay. I hope you can still hear me before I proceed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you. Please try not to make so much noise in the background, otherwise it will interfere with everybody. Okay, I'll just leave one person unmuted, just in case my sound goes wrong. You can at least alert me. Okay, so you can read a lot of interesting things about blockchain application, but for me, voting, election rigging, that should be something of the past. And as I mentioned about the title deed, because once the data is entered on the blockchain, you cannot manipulate it as an individual. There has to be a quorum voting. So it can be more secure than that. Okay. So just a high-level overview on evolution of money. We all know that everything started with the barter trade. It was the best business system we had because there was no middleman. It was made to you, and that means it was very efficient, but it was a trust-dependent system, right? People felt like, for me to do business with you, I have to know what you have, what you have and what you need. So then we can exchange. But as you can see, it's very difficult to get those matches happening, So to overcome that, consumer demands drives technology and, revolution. They felt like, how about we have something that's globally valuable, such that I don't have to be walking around with my chickens looking for people with cows for me to exchange. You can even think how many chickens should be equivalent to one small cow. It's crazy. So that's how gold and other valuable metals or stones or even ivory were used as money. This is the first time you'll hear me mentioning the word money, and probably should be the last time I mention money when I'm talking about what you're using today. Why am I talking about saying this? gold today retains the true meaning of money. If you go and check the English dictionary meaning of money, money should retain its value or grow in value. What other people call money, as in the fiat currency we're using today, whether it's the dollar, the shilling, the naira, the kwacha, that's not money. And the reason I'm saying that's not money, and we revisit this discussion again, is if I give you 1,000 of whichever currency you're using 10 years ago, you would have bought a lot of shopping. The money, the currency had value. But today, the same amount would buy you way much less. That, to me, as I said, according to the English dictionary meaning of money, money shouldn't lose its buying power. So before I go further, I would like to explain, that before 1971, if any government wanted to print money, currency, those paper notes, they had to mine or avail some gold. What does that mean? Before 1971, if you had any piece of paper written, whether it's $100 or 1,000 Kenya shilling, whatever it is, there was an equivalent amount of gold backing its value. That was unfortunately cancelled out in 1971 when the then American President Richard Nixon detached the value of money, the value of the currency, the US dollar, from gold. And what he said, he shocked the world. And actually, I think that article was called, the shockwave. He said, from today on, if I give you a piece of paper and I write on it 105, that's $105 note. Don't ask me for gold or silver backing its value. And the question is, why do you think he did that? He did not do that because he cared about the Americans. No. If you read closely, it was around that time when they needed to fund the Vietnam War, and he had a campaign to fund as well. Those are two things that require a lot of money. And he realized that for him to print the amount of notes he needed, whether electronically or in physical format, he would have been forced to mine all the gold in the world. But as you know, America is not the biggest gold producer. It's countries like Zimbabwe, Congo, South Africa that are the biggest gold producers. Yeah. So to do that, he decided to detach the value of the dollar from those valuable ornaments so that he can manipulate and he can print as much as he needed. That introduced the inflation. Inflation is not anything fancy. It's just the losing of the buying power. So as you can see, we're moving from one form of currency to another just because of consumer needs and convenience that's required. And the latest format is a cryptocurrency. And you'll see how different cryptocurrencies are from the previous forms of money or currencies we have used before. So the next few slides, I'll be discussing about that. So cryptocurrency, I always say it's digital money or electronic money that's sent through the internet. There is no middleman, it's a person to person, and whenever you remove the middleman, things become cheap and fast. Okay, as you might not be aware, today we're looking at about 1.7 billion adults who are unbanked, and this is maybe due to they don't have a physical address. They don't meet the criteria most of the banks require today for you to open a bank account. And I would say it's unfair for any adult to be unable to participate in the financial world because of such trivial things. There are people who don't have homes. That doesn't mean they shouldn't participate in the market. So cryptocurrency makes this easy for everybody. As I started from my first slide, I said anybody can participate. The way you opened an email account, you can open a Bitcoin exchange wallet, and these are country specific. As I said, you can use that depending on which country you're from. Yeah, and you can buy any amount. As you learn later on, you'll see this cryptocurrency can be shared by so many people. I'll cover that later on. And it's inflation free. Meaning that unlike the fiat currency we use today, this is money that grows in value in a long period of time. Don't buy today and you're expecting to be a multi-millionaire tomorrow. Give it some time, okay? And the other interesting features that some may find interesting, like there is no chargeback once you do a transaction. I cannot go and decline it because the money goes one way, okay? It also gives you a lot of freedom. Like today, I can send money anywhere in the world without really having to get approval from the current system that makes our life so difficult. Okay, so I don't know, there's somebody making noise somewhere, so I'm going to mute, yeah. Okay, so some people normally say Bitcoin is being used for criminal activity, and I say those are people who are just trying to tarnish the name of Bitcoin and with their lack of understanding. Because Bitcoin, we have two types of cryptocurrency, by the way. We have the one that go to the public blockchain and others go to the private blockchain. Bitcoin belongs to those coins that use public blockchain, which means if today I give you my Bitcoin receiving address, it may not read my name, but that address will probably link back maybe to an exchange that I registered with, yeah? And that can be linked back to me. So Bitcoin is not anonymous. It leaves traces because every Bitcoin transaction has to be recorded on the blockchain, and that's what constitutes the Bitcoin database. If you want to do crazy, interesting things, the other interesting coins, we call them the private coins, which leaves no traces. Think of that story about manna from heaven. Nobody really knows which direction is heaven. You can point in all different directions. But if you are transacting with coins like Monero, I can set my Bitcoin, my Monero receiving address and say, put my money there. You will not know where it came from. So those are the ones that criminals actually use, but you'll hear news saying that Bitcoin is used for criminal activities. So just to bring this back to what I'm talking about, obviously Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency to be designed. It's an open source software, and I've seen ever since it was introduced, we have so many other coins which have been introduced later on. Those are the ones we play with when we're doing our trading, and I'll talk about that later on. Just as an example here, why are we caring so much about Bitcoin? Remember, Bitcoin does grow in value, and I'll cover this later on. But you can see if one Bitcoin was about 25 cents, Kenya shillings, or less than a 50, like it wasn't even a dollar. How much is one Bitcoin today? How much will one be worth in a few years from today? So you want to pay attention and start accumulating these coins. Okay. So I will briefly describe, the Bitcoin protocol towards the end. But if anything is not clear, you're welcome to, to let me know. I'll be able to look at the question maybe from the chat later on as well. But now technology is misbehaving. I can't go to the next slide. Okay, so I just mentioned about inflation and how it affects our buying power, and yet we're still doing the same old thing. We're investing our hard-earned cash in these fiat currency, or you go put your money today when it's worth more, and you go and you get it 20 years later as your investment, and it has lost all its buying power. Some people take these not so seriously, but think about Zimbabwe. Think about that past pensioner who worked for more than 40 years and they had put all their investment in Zimbabwean dollar. And one day you retire and you wake up and you hear Zimbabwean dollar has collapsed. It's worth nothing. They printed 100 trillion Zim dollar note. And just to put it into perspective, like the reason why these currencies are suffering so much is because they have unlimited supply of it, so they printed 100 trillion Zim dollar. That still, messes my head, and you see somebody interesting here who was saying he sold 800 Bitcoins in 2015 and he bought a house. And then in 2018, he sold his house and he could only buy 50 Bitcoins. You can see what happened within those 3 years. And it's interesting, but smart people know where to take their money. This is Old Mutual, one of the investment companies, I think even in Kenya, even in South Africa, which went public and they invested in Bitcoin. You can only imagine you give them your millions and billions, they go buy Bitcoin, wait for the value to go up and they sell. And that can happen in few minutes, This is a sad picture for me because I always say, Africa, we always like playing catch up. This map I always monitor it to see like legality and popularity of Bitcoin all over the world. And you can see in Africa, it remains gray, meaning that we have not made our decision on where we're taking this. But all the countries that know where it's where the future is, you can see it's a Bitcoin or whatever. It's not considered illegal; it's legal or illegal, But hopefully, with more education, we'll be able to paint the picture green in Africa. We be the pioneers, not the followers. Okay. As I mentioned, Bitcoin is the most popular. There will only be 21 million Bitcoins ever produced, and this makes it very limited. It's more limited in supply than even gold. We always say gold is scarce, but scarcity of gold is only controlled by how technologically advanced we are or we are not. Okay, but Bitcoin is a mathematical formula which was designed such that it says we'll only have 21 million Bitcoin to be shared by the whole world. People normally say, hey, is that enough for the world? Today, the world is sitting at about 7.6 billion people. And by the way, we forgot about family planning. We're giving birth to almost 200,000 newborns every day. And those people are going to be sharing the same 21 million Bitcoins. I'm sure we have more than 21 million millionaires in the world. Even if they wanted each to own one Bitcoin, it's impossible, And people normally say, oh, what's going to happen? Obviously, the longer you take, the harder it's going to be for you to accumulate Bitcoin. And that's why we are pushing and trying to educate as many people as possible so that you can start getting your own share. But don't panic yet. As you can see, one Bitcoin can be shared by 100 million people. Just as you can share $1 or $1 or 1 shilling or 1 quarter among 100 people, you get the sense. One Bitcoin can be shared by 100 million people. So there is no excuse why you cannot get yourself some Bitcoin. It's affordable. You can break it down into very small individuals. Think about it. If one Satoshi is equivalent to $1, you'll need $100 million to buy one Bitcoin. Sounds crazy. Sounds like it will never happen. But if you look at the charts I'm showing here, I personally don't look at all-time high, how high the value of Bitcoin has gone. I always go year after year and I see what the lowest Bitcoin went to. Assuming like you bought and you only realized that you have some Bitcoin the following year, you can see there was no single year where like you made a loss because the value of Bitcoin keeps growing year after year. So look at all-time low, all-time high. It's people, it's traders like you and I who will take advantage of those. But most people will only maybe realize about the investment when they hear, oh, Bitcoin is crashing. How many times has it crashed? And we go and you see how badly has it crashed. A year later, and you'll be shocked to see you are still in serious profit. Okay. So as you have heard, there's a lot of interesting, nice things about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but how can you get involved? I always say the safest and the easiest way to get started is to buy and Bitcoin. It's the simplest. You don't need to be technologically savvy. You just need to get a wallet. And if you need any guidance on what to buy, I have given you a link for the CoinMarketCap.com. You can Google that. And if you go to any of the top 20, you can buy any of those coins. Please be careful with ICO. There's a lot of scams and useless coins which are overrated. Avoid those. If you want to play it safe, register with the right exchange. I'll share with you with the exchanges that you can buy multiple different coins. For example, in South Africa, obviously you can use the altcoin trader, you can use Val, you can buy several coins out of it. Or globally, you can use Binance, Bittrex. Those are different bigger exchanges you can use, and you can buy as many coins as you need. So as I said, the easiest and the safest way to participate is to buy some Bitcoin. Make it a habit every month. Spare some $10 or whatever, how much that is in your local currency. Buy some Bitcoin. Don't worry about the price at which you are buying it for, and give it about 5 years. You'll be shocked. If you are buying Bitcoin worth $1 every day for the last maybe 5 years or so, you'd be a millionaire now, because you'd have enough Bitcoins by that time. So don't think Trading is about buying and selling. If you buy today and you sell in 5 years' time, you are a trader, but a really long-term trader. So don't let these things intimidate you. So when you go to the real trading, these you can make millions. You can make a lot of money. I have shown you some charts here, which, as I say, today's discussion just to make you get comfortable about the concept of buying and selling. So all what we are doing is like here we're monitoring these charts we have here. You buy low, you buy when the price is here, you wait for the price to go up and you sell. So what makes a trader successful or not, as I said, is who knows when this change is happening, who knows when the coin will be at this price. Okay, but at the end of the day, all what you are doing is to buy and know when to sell. That's all. Okay, so here you can make a lot of money. You can make millions. I'm not making the millions yet, but I am building on my skills to become better and better. And we'll be sharing in maybe follow-up presentation on other ways of trading using the automated trading platforms. And please don't confuse this with those scams that come and tell you, give me any amount of money and I'll be giving you 1% daily. No. Okay. So I'm talking of where you're involved in trading and you are making things move around, depending on somebody to trade for you. Okay. So where do Bitcoins come from? That's where crypto mining comes in. I will not dwell so much into this, but just so that you can have a basic understanding after this presentation, you understand like some of the coins that you'll be trading are proof of work, others are proof of stake. So proof of work, you have to verify all the transaction, and by so doing, you get rewarded with a known amount of the coins, are predetermined. As I said, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are mathematical formula. And people normally argue a lot with these numbers, like when I say you'll only have 21 million, you'll only have these. But just to give you a visual, every 10 minutes, new Bitcoin are released as a block reward to the miner for verifying and confirming that whatever transaction you see, it has never been seen before. Remember, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, these are digital or electronic money. The same message you'll send to me, wishing me Merry Christmas to me and my family, and I'll feel like you only sent it to me. I'm sure you'll have shared it with 20 other families. Nobody will know which is the original, which is the copy. So to make sure that we don't send the same Bitcoin to more than one individual, every Bitcoin transaction is recorded on the blockchain. And that transaction, every time it happens, we take all of them every 10 minutes and we have to search for plagiarism or duplication. Have we ever seen this transaction before? Whoever does that, they get rewarded with a known fraction of Bitcoin out of the 21 million that will ever be produced. So every 10 minutes, people are making money, okay? And these, you'll see, in the first 4 years, between 2008 and 2011, every 10 minutes, people are receiving 50 Bitcoins as a reward for the miners. This time, Bitcoin had no value until May 2020, May 2010, when I was here in South Africa celebrating Soccer World Cup. Somebody decided to buy 2 pizzas, which were worth $25, but he had so much Bitcoins, he gave them 10,000 Bitcoins. That's the most expensive pizza to date, and that's how Bitcoin gained value, okay? After that, Bitcoin now became a bit more popular from 2012 towards 2015. And all of a sudden, now the first halving took place. And every 10 minutes, whoever verifies a Bitcoin transaction, they were receiving 25 Bitcoins. By this time, unlike the first 4 years, you could no longer mine Bitcoin as an individual. And these were like pool mining started, where people pool resources together, okay? So today, from 2016 until May next year, and why am I giving you this information? Remember, when you are trading, you need to know the fundamentals and the technicals. Now everybody is anticipating that they have to buy as much Bitcoin today as possible because every halving sees Bitcoin value at least doubling in value. So some technical information, some fundamental news to know is people are buying Bitcoin right now in hope that during the next halving, which will happen in May next year, Bitcoin value will have doubled or gone even higher. So with these, that's how we see you buy now and you sell later and you'll make your profits. Okay, I have given you some important links you can go through and have a better understanding. As we have seen, like Bitcoin does add zeros to its value. I don't know how many zeros are you adding to your salary. These, as you see, like another fundamental news that you want to pay attention to, as you see more and more companies accepting Bitcoin. In South Africa, there is more than 600 shops where you can buy directly with Bitcoin. The biggest being takealot.com. It's an international company. Bid or buy, pick and pay, and so many other international companies like Virgin Active, Microsoft, all those companies, the more acceptance. I hear in Kenya, you can pay in some matatus, you can pay for your transport using Bitcoin. The more companies accept Bitcoin, that's fundamental news that will drive the value up. Okay. So going back to where we're here, that was just maybe a waste of your time a little bit, but I had to do that so that as many people can catch up and we can all walk through this journey together. So trading, as I mentioned, especially it's just buying and selling. So you have different pairs, we call it the base or the base currency, depending on what pairs you are trading. You can be trading Bitcoin pairs, US dollar pairs, but what I will say is cryptocurrency trading is extremely volatile. It's more volatile than Forex market because it's very small, it's very niche. That could be a good or a bad thing. So you have to always be extra cautious. If you are coming from Forex trading, trust me, Forex trading takes time. It has nice patterns you can follow because it's a well-established market. We don't have as many crazy moves from nowhere. It's not as easy to manipulate like the cryptocurrency market. So things like stop losses, and those are some of the discussion we'll have. You cannot afford to trade cryptocurrency and fail to put a stop loss. You actually want to start with the stop loss before you do anything because it can take no time and the price move from 40% up to 40% down or even worse, even 70%. We saw what happens to Matish. People say it was a manipulation. No, it's a normal cycle. It's a normal pattern. It goes up in value and goes down in value. So remember that, and we'll be covering some of these in details later on. So what makes any market tradable is when you're making the pairs fight. So besides Bitcoin, we have other coins. Any coin that's not Bitcoin, we call it alternative coin or altcoins. So Bitcoin may have very nice features, but there are other features it doesn't do as well as other coins. And that's where we take advantage of those moments. Today, I may believe more in algo coin that it's a better coin than Bitcoin. So I buy more of it. When you buy more, remember you reducing them in circulation, the value goes high. So it's up to you as a trader to pair that and be there when that value is growing. And the more it grows, it's using the increase in percentage value to gain more value. Okay. So as you have seen, like some of the big influencers in the world, Richard Branson and Bill Gates, also they all knew that Bitcoin cannot be the best in everything. And that's why we have the altcoin market. Okay. So to know how many coins we have, I was actually shocked to see. The last time I did this presentation was something similar to this. We only had 2,500 altcoins. Today, as we speak, is more than 5,000. The more the merrier, we get more pairs to trade with. But another thing you'll learn later on in our follow-up trainings is you might want to avoid some of, we call them low Satoshi coins because they don't have enough liquidity and you can struggle to work with those, but we'll cover such information. These markets are big. You can see we're looking at a 200 billion US dollar market. So there's a lot of money we can make here. Obviously, it's very small compared to the Forex market, which is in trillions, but we're getting there. If you consider that in 2017, it was a 20 billion industry. It has grown 10 times in just 2 years. Forex market is not growing as fast as we have seen. That said, Bitcoin still remains the most dominant coin and dominating more than 60%. And that's why a lot of pairing, you'll be pairing Bitcoin or the US dollar. Okay. So these are some of the coins and how they have performed in the past. This was just a chart showing the performance in 2017 and January 2018. You can make a lot of money with these altcoins, buying and selling. But as I said, you have to look in all directions. If you are trading other coins other than Bitcoin, you have to know how Bitcoin is behaving, because a spike in Bitcoin value, whether on uptrend or downtrend, affects the market. So you always want to know what's happening. So that's why I'm saying you need to be extra cautious when you are trading cryptocurrency. It's not like the majors in the Forex, whereby, yes, they do affect each other, but in crypto, Bitcoin still dictates the movement, okay? So how to get started? It's very simple. First of all, you need a system that can convert your fiat currency, the Naira, the Rand, to Bitcoin. Once you have Bitcoin, then you're ready to go. I have shared some of the links of the different pairs that you can use. After that, it's just simple registration, put your email address, a password, verify that. Then the next is how to fund your wallet. You can cover this, or you can just follow simple videos. Every wallet you'll see out there, they have plenty of videos on how to do these steps. So don't stress yourself. It's very easy, but you cannot get started without doing these basic steps. So once you have that, now you need a trading account. In Forex, they use the MT4 and MT5 and those platforms. Here, we use different trading accounts. So you can use, let's say, like Coinbase, Binance. I use Binance. It's the most, I think, one of the largest. Other people use Bittrex. It depends on what you prefer and what you are you're going for and what's allowed in different countries. But I would highly recommend you consider Binance. To me, it's the safest and the fastest growing, okay? So you would move your Bitcoin from your local-based wallet and then transfer your Bitcoin to the trading platform. And your trading experience begins as the manual trading, okay? So just to, to make sure that people who came here for just trading lessons, at least they have a basic of what is going on. As I said, we have the fundamentals and the technicals. Fundamentals, I have tried to share as much as I could. I would say like cryptos don't react as much to fundamental news like what we see in Forex markets. Sometimes it has delayed reaction, but it's good to pay attention. Like now I'm saying the biggest news is the Bitcoin halving, what maybe the forks, when the coins are splitting into different areas, when other coins are released. Okay, so you need to pay attention to such information because those affect the performance of the market. Okay, so technicals, just to show you what we look at. I believe like if you want to be a better trader who is not a gambler, if you are going for 50-50 chances and you're choosing your entry point, that means you are not any different from somebody who is gambling. Yeah. So to avoid that, this is why having good technical knowledge is very important. Trading some patterns, like here I'm just showing like a typical a W format. You can see the market, the prices were dropping, then it set the the low of the day. You can see when you see these spikes, it gives you indicators like where it's going, then it's retraced back, then it went on the downtrend again, and then this is like a very good end point, a long trade, and you put your stop loss somewhere around here. Okay, you don't want to put your stop loss here because when they are reaching out for the stop losses, remember every market you are trading, there is the market makers and they have to make money, and they make money when you lose money. It's up to you to follow the patterns and know what to do based on what they are doing. Okay, so those are some of the easy things that you can follow. Like when you get in there, you need to know where to put your stop loss and you need to know when to exit, because as you can see, no market trades for forever. Okay, but as I mentioned, those are some of the things we'll be covering on like follow-up training, where we go a little bit in more technical. Okay. So there is something I have discovered through my journey of trading, and it's what we call automated trading platforms. Yes, you can see like in this chart here, now and again the coin would touch these, and we call them the Bollinger Bands. And you can automate these processes. You don't want to be sitting the whole night, like trying to see, oh, when will it touch so that I can buy. So with the trading platforms, like the one I'm currently using, and I'm happy to discuss more on a later stage, these bots never sleep. These bots, they don't. Remember, cryptocurrency market operates 24/7, 365 days in a year. It's not like the forex, So when you're using these automated bots, you give it simple instructions. Buy for me a coin at this and this time. If a market is raging, it's moving from here out to the top there. You can tell it every time you touch this price, buy, because you can see it never went lower than that. So I don't need to be awake for it to buy, sell, and when it gets there, I can even tell it, once you sell, buy again, and it's making me profits on a daily basis, every hour, every minute. It's paying a profit, but it's better than trying to go and trade manually, whereby you might miss some of these big moves. But here I can write this, I make my profit, the price drops, I enter again. I can automate that process, and that's what bots do. Okay, so they'll free your time and you can do other important things like reading and understanding which coin should be the next one for me to enter. They can do millions of transactions, buying and selling per day. You cannot do that. They come in hard during when the market is trading. And remember, every market will trade at some point. We either will be trading upward or downward, or it will be in a range. Okay. So if you have a system that can automate this, makes your life so easy, okay? So I don't want to go so much into this. I don't want to even discuss the platform for now, but in the follow-up training, we'll be going into details about this. So that's me, and that's what I would want to share with you tonight. I would say, like I have reasonable experience in the cryptocurrency market, whether it's through, controversial mining, because unless you're mining on your own, it can be very tricky because you have seen a lot of fake companies out there. I always say the best way to make money is to develop a skill, and that's why I'm putting a lot of emphasis on trading, because once you learn the skills, nobody can take that away from you. You will always be profitable, you'll always be making money, you can trade in a market. So that's why I want us to be more decentralized like Bitcoin and have better way and safer way of making money. But I'm not saying like we don't have legit Bitcoin mining operations. They are there, and without mining, we cannot even trade the cryptocurrency because those transactions will not be verified. What I'm saying is you need to be cautious and you need to talk to the right people and ask the right questions. So that's my story for tonight. And as you know, I'm based in South Africa, but I'll be in Kenya this December. So if you want us to meet for one-on-one discussion, I'm happy to meet and we can discuss more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll open the platform for any questions. So thank you very much, and let's see